Welcome everyone to Stafford Speedway. We have entered the month of June and we begin with the Casella Waste Open Modified 80. And starting off the pit preview is Kyle Rickey with a driver making their Stafford debut.
And Bonza, there's been a lot of talk about this young driver from North Carolina making the trek north for the first time, and Carson Lofton, the current modified point leader in the Smart Tour down south, a winner 5 times. But you're here kind of out of your element here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. What brought you up north this week?
Well, you know, when you think of modified, you think of Stafford. And to be able to come up here really means a lot. It's kind of a last-minute deal, so to be able to put it together and hopefully have a decent run tonight.
You've had some laps here on the racetrack earlier today. Initial impressions, your thoughts?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. It compares to a lot of what it's like in iRacing, and that definitely helped a lot. It's got a lot more grip than it does in iRacing, so it definitely had to adapt a little bit better than I thought it would. So hopefully we got a good race car for tonight.
Talked about iRacing. Was just going to ask you how you prepare to come to a new venue like this. That's not in your region of the country down south. How close is iRacing on video monitors compared to the real thing?
It's pretty close. Like I say, I think it was scanned a few years before they repaved or whatever they did. But I used that in fence line films. I used a lot of that to get prepared for the night.
How do you think this track will change? I know it's your first time here, but as the sun sets, they say this track changes a lot. What are you anticipating for 80 laps here later tonight under the lights?
That's what we worried about. You know, I feel like we have a good race run car here in the sun, but you know, when the sun goes down, I don't know what we got. So everybody says it gets free, so hopefully we got a good balance, and hopefully put this thing to the front.
Some of Modified Racing best here tonight. Who are you able to lean on, maybe get some advice from? Who have you talked to, leading into tonight's race?
That guy right there, Woody Pitcat, you know, he's really helped me a lot. And Marcelo, he was down there where we tested, he helped me a lot too. James Savall, a lot of people reached out and helped me out, so can't thank them enough for, doing that.
Good luck, have fun out there tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Second generation driver Carson Lofton making his debut here tonight at the Stafford Motor Speedway in an open modified. Now let's go and hear from one of our weekly contenders in the SK Modified pits with Bonza.
Kyle, one driver that's been quietly running solid throughout the 2024 season, as usual, is Jarvis Jr., who came into this race 5th in points. I know it's early to talk about championship standings, but so far, 5 weeks in, how have you felt about the performance of the 33?
I think we only had really one hiccup through the 5 races, so started off the year good with the 4th, and had top 10s from there on out. So we're pretty happy with the way it's been running.
What is the competition like out there? Because when we're watching from the window, from broadcast, it's wild out there. From behind the driver's seat, what is it like?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, you have 12, 15 drivers who win every night. Just today I was looking at where the starting lines would be. It's like, oh yeah, any one of these people can possibly do it. But yeah, it's stiff competition out there, and just really got to be on your game to be up front.
You like to play more on the cautious side out there on the track when it comes to driving style. Do you feel like you have to change that with how tight the field is this year?
Not really. I mean, I feel like if I change that, I might find myself in more trouble. And it's just the way I've always done it, and it's always seemed to work out. There's times where you have to be like that, but that's not all the time.
You've had 2 4th-place finishes this year. What more do you need for a podium and maybe a trip to victory lane?
Really, we just need to maybe just hit the setup just perfectly one night. Just so close. I felt like we had a pretty good shot last week too. The 3 in front of me just had just a little bit more than me.
Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
That's Jarvis Jr. looking for his first podium of the year after finishing 4th last Friday night. Now we'll go to the late model pits where Kyle's standing by with a driver who made their return after a couple weeks off.
Bonza, Daryl Keane has seen the highs and lows of this sport already here in just the first 5 weeks of the 2024 season, picking up an opening day win and then having one of the hardest hits that we have seen here in quite some time the following week. You returned last week, got a top 5 effort, but talk about the process of just getting this car back together and getting back to the racetrack after a couple weeks off.
It was long, and a lot of guys worked a lot of hours to get it done. Unfortunately, with that deal, we ended up wrecking 2 other cars that come out of BFR chassis, and I can't thank Bob enough to get the car back together to where it was, to be competitive again. And the guys working at the shop, me, my wife, and like I said, all of Bob's guys, they killed themselves to get the car ready to come back. And unfortunately, we took 2 weeks off, but we needed it. The thing was pretty tore up.
This sport can be so cruel sometimes. I mean, you're coming off that first win of the season. What was the emotion like that week leading up to the wreck?
It was great. We actually had a good run going. We were 4th that night. I was like, oh, well, this ain't so bad. We're going to have a decent points night, and how quick that ended. It was kind of a shocker. So the week before, it was great. It was kind of, almost too easy. It was kind of a laid-back week because we had, not a ton of issues with the car the week before. Obviously, we won, but off of someone else's misfortune. because we were probably a third place car that day. But it was to win a Spring Sizzler is unbelievable. It's something I dreamed of as a kid, and my family has, and to do it was just awesome.
You got the car back together, back on the track last week, a top 5 run. How do you feel about the car at the end of the night?
The car was great. We missed the set. We made over-adjusted a little bit for weather conditions, and but the car was still good. We have a little bit to do. We still got some catching up to do, catch Paul and Kevin, but we're close.
Good luck here later this evening.
Thank you very much.
Keep an eye on car number 79. That is Daryl Keane here in our late model feature event. Now let's go to the SK Late Modifieds and hear from a driver who has also had a lot of highs and lows these last couple of weeks.
It's been quite a roller coaster season for Sammy Anderson, the 21 team, but you had a really high point last week. First of all, you killed the Anthem. Phenomenal work there. And then you go 17th to 3rd. It's been a crazy year. How important was last Friday for you and the team?
Last Friday was crucial, so my expectations going into the race was to have a solid top 10 finish. If I could crack off a top 5, make it happen. But, once I got into that top 5 spot, I guess you could say there was a little bit of fire lit under me, and I did all that I could to get the most out of it.
Now, that 3rd place is nice, your first points-paying podium. What more do you need to get another 3rd or a 2nd or maybe even a victory?
So this week in particular, I'm definitely starting in a better spot than I ever have at Stafford. So this is definitely a really big week. I don't want to let it get to my head, I guess you could call it. So our expectations are still the same, where we want to just be able to finish the race, keep all 4 wheels on the car, have a solid, consistent run, and that's where you'll see those top 3 runs come into play. Having consistent runs and being able to put it all together, that's really our goal.
How do you describe this season as a whole? You've had to run a backup car a couple times. You had last week. For you, what has this year been like, and how tough is it to try and push from a bad night, a good night, and then a bad night?
It can be tough at times. My crew, these guys, they're fighters. They're ready to go. They're always ready to keep fighting, getting better, and that's definitely how I was raised. That's how my parents are. That's how my family is. So even when things don't go your way, and it's going to happen. It happens to every single person here. So even when things don't go your way, what went wrong? How could we fail forward? How could we do better? What do we need to do to make it better? And sometimes that's driver input, or saying, Sam, you could have done this better, you could have done that better. Other times it's crew, other times, sometimes it's mechanics. So just being able to put all the pieces together, it's tricky. It definitely is hard. Racing's definitely not easy. Nothing about it is easy. So we're doing the best that we can, and I think that we're starting to kind of get it here at Stafford. I don't want to jinx myself. I want a solid run tonight, too.
Well, good luck tonight.
Thank you very much. And for anybody who's watching, check out my social media sites. I am finally officially releasing merchandise. So Tater Baseball, thank you so much for everything that you guys have done. And everybody, go check out the website. I know a lot of people have been messaging me and asking, so it's finally here.
Well, there you go. That's Sammy Anderson looking for another good run in the SK Lite Modified 20-lap feature. Now we're going to go to Kyle with our defending limited late model champion.
Bonza able to catch up with 3-time and defending limited late model champion Jeremy Lavoy, who is currently 2nd in the championship standings coming into tonight. But in the first 5 races this season, we have had 5 different winners. Jeremy, you have yet to get to Napa Victory Lane. Could tonight be that night?
I'm really hoping so. We thought we were going to have a really good car coming into the year, and try to click off wins early. And the division's been very tough. We've had 5 different winners in the 5 weeks that we've ran. So, I was close last week. I was about lap 10. I was getting by Kyle Therio, and the caution came out, so I had to go back to 2nd and got stuck on the outside. So, between starting on the outside and restarting on the outside, and just having a tight race car, we're really trying to wrench on this thing and get it, tuned in. We're about 1 adjustment away, and once we hit it, I think we'll be able to get a win. But, I'm hoping tonight's going to be the night. I got the open mods here with their rubber, so it's usually a gripped up track when they're here. So we're optimistic for tonight, and we're going to see what we can do.
But it proves how much consistency means in this division. Although you're winless, you're just out of the championship point lead. I mean, how much do you look at those numbers during the summer?
Oh, I look at points from week 1. I just kind of, keep tabs on where everybody is and, positions that I have on the track and who I'm racing with. So, yeah, I look at that from week 1. But, Yeah, just got to try to stay consistent. I know 6th place isn't where we want to finish, but, kind of broke my top 5 streak there. But, I'll take it. Cars in one piece. Last week there was a lot of wrecked race cars. So for me to be able to load this race car in one piece and then, repair it and make adjustments on it during the week, it means a lot. And, we're going to try to keep it clean tonight and hopefully go right to the front. I know we're not going to have any heat, so I'm probably going to start near the front, which it's okay. If I start on the pole and I go in, that's fine. A win is a win, right?
Final question for you. You mentioned the Open Modifieds are here. No heat races. How much will this track change between practice and the feature event later tonight, even with the sun going down and the temperatures dropping?
Yeah, no, when they're here, there's usually a lot of rubber they put down. So, we're hoping for a car that we adjusted on for a really good night tonight. And, we'll see what we have in practice. No heats. We kind of use that as like a third practice in a sense. But, we'll know what we have in practice. And if it's anything better than the last couple weeks, then I'll be very happy.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
That's Jeremy Lavoy looking for his first win of the season. It has been 10 years since we've started the limited late model year with 5 different winners. Looking to continue that trend here tonight is the driver of car number 6. Now let's go to the straight stock pit and hear from another driver looking to turn his luck around from a week ago.
Last Friday was an eventful feature for Marvin Minkler. He was running second, had a spin, backed it into the wall, and still came back to finish 5th. So before we talk about the incident, how did you feel about the car running in second, and is that something you can carry on to this week and beyond?
The car felt great last week. Every week we seem to pick up a 10th here, a 10th there, and we're kind of in the wheelhouse. We're not in the same stratosphere as Travis Hydar yet, but, we're in the hemisphere, so we're getting closer.
Now, what happened when you were running second, and what damage was done to the car?
I think I hit a puddle. Some other guys said that there was some water on the track, but the car just broke loose for no reason. And I was running smooth. I wasn't pushing it very hard. I knew we had second kind of locked up there, and it just snapped around.
So last year with this car, you were struggling for the most part. What has changed this season to have a much better beginning to 24?
Well, a little bit more aggressive as a driver, that's for sure. And just some of the changes that Paul Verrecchio's made and suggested for the car has made it so much faster.
You talk about aggression. I feel like the aggression picked up last Friday overall in the street stocks. What did you notice, and is that something you think will carry on in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, everybody preaches patience, but they get out there and they're just dive bombing all over the place. They're like fighter pilots, so you just got to keep your head up.
Open modified nights, so how do you adjust for the tour rubber?
I mean, it's going to get slick, so I got to put my dirt track hat on and get it sideways.
Have fun tonight.
Thank you.
That's Marvin Minkler. He finished top 5 last week, looking to do a little bit better, get his first podium in about a half a season, and maybe a chance eventually at win number 1 at Stafford. It's time to go racing. It's the Casella Waste Open Modified 80, and Ben Dodge is on the call.
Well, again, we want to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's special event, presented, as we said, by Casella Waste Systems. We'll be talking a lot about them tonight. And, of course, they had an impressive display. And, of course, there were plenty of great giveaways to the fans themselves. Tonight's story is pretty much this. 3 qualifying round for the Open Tour type modifieds. Then we go into pre-qualify. The top 18 eligible cars have already been determined in the Street Stock feature event, which will be the first feature of the night. The limited late models, second round. SK Lights, they will be the third feature. SK Modifieds will be 4th. Late models will be 5th. And then the big dance, the Casella Waste Open 80. Well, as the ground rumbles, we're ready to begin our first of 3 qualifying rounds. And the voice of the Motor Racing Network, Kyle Rickey, is alongside with Casella qualifying heat number 1.
Going to get right into it. Cars are already on the racetrack. First of 3 Open Modified qualifying events on the pole. Car number 20 from Farmington, Connecticut, Dana DiMatteo.
Outside row number 1, car number 8 from Shelton, Connecticut, the Halkowitz, a milling machine car, plumbing machine car for Nick Halkowitz.
Third starter, car number 179 from Northampton, Pennsylvania, Avenue Auto to bring us Austin Beers.
M&M Stone Creation brings us the Mark Payne machine from Berlin, Connecticut, Keith Rocco.
Fifth starter, car number 8 New York from Griswold, Connecticut, the West Wind Tree Farm for Tyler Berry.
Sixth starting position, he's a former winner of one of these events, the Rafano Wheelers Automotive Machine from North Haven, Marcello Rafano.
And 7 starter, car number 50, former 2-time SK champion here at the racetrack from Ellington, Connecticut, the Empower Financial Advisory car for Ronnie Williams.
Field is set. They're ready to begin. This is first of 3, 10 laps of distance, 5 cars to transfer among the handicap system. Lights are off on the safety vehicle provided by Wheelan Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Casella Waste qualifying for the Casella Waste 80. Here they come, deep into turn number 3, and to kick things off on this evening's program, here is Kyle Rickey to bring him to green number 1.
Lined up, ready to go, Dana DiMatteo, Nick Hulkowitz. The first of 3 qualifying events is underway for the Open Modifieds, and it's going to be the 179 in the outside of the front row for Austin Beers, challenging DiMatteo up the back straightaway for the first time in this qualifying event. Inside lane will prevail. Dana DiMatteo goes to the point.
Inside lane does prevail, Kyle, and all of a sudden Keith Rocco has moved quickly into the 3rd spot. That's the number 57 machine. Who's right there with him? It is Marcelo Rafano. Rafano threads the needle through traffic. He'll now move into the 4th spot. Off turn number 4, out in front. The other famous DiMatteo, Dana DiMatteo. Blistering pace as the leader, Kyle. 18.787.
Austin Beers hangs on to the 2nd spot, and they are stacked up behind him, including Keith Rocco in 4th. Last week's SK Modified winner, Marcello Rafano, bid for 2nd off of turn number 4. Rocco to the inside of Beers for the runner-up spot as they go back to 1.
Rocco said in the paddock area earlier, he has a rocket. That rocket is about to be, well, set into space as he's looking to take over the number 2 position. Marcello Rafano right there, Austin Beers, Mr. Outside. Here comes Rocco. He's up to 2nd by a nose. Little wiggle to the outside. Beers is there. Here comes Marcello Rafano.
Up the back straightaway they go. 3rd time side by side for 2nd, and it has allowed Dana DiMatteo to pull away at the point by about 10 car lengths over Rocco in 2nd, Beers in 3rd. Rafano, best seat in the house right there in 4th, and here comes Ronnie Williams looking to make that a 4-way race from 2nd on back.
Remember, 5 is the magic number. Williams in the 5th spot. Here comes Marcello Rafano. He bumps back Austin Beers, who's now in the 4th position. Beers looks back at it on the inside, can't do it. Rocco now being hunted down by Marcello Rafano. That's the bid for 2nd. Dana DiMatteo is gone at the front of the field.
Rafano there in the 3rd spot behind Rocco, who leads that 2nd pack of traffic down to the line as laps continue to click away. 3 to go. Dana DiMatteo had a healthy lead of some 10 car lengths a few laps ago. That lead beginning to dwindle here as Rocco closes in and brings Rafano and Beers right along with him.
Sure does. Good battle right there. Nose to tail action at its absolute best. Keith Rocco still setting in 2nd. Marcello Rafano nipping at his heels off turn number 2. And of course, Austin Beers in 4th. Now all of a sudden, Tyler Berry is closing in on Williams. White flag is out. 5 is the magic number here.
Final trip around the Stafford half mile here in heat race number 1. Dana DiMatteo has led all the laps thus far. Rocco in 2nd, Rafano in 3rd. There you see them, 1, 2, 3 up the back straightaway for the final time.
Here they come, final turn. Off turn number 4, Dana DiMatteo unchallenged to take down the win. Marcello Rafano sneaks in, takes over 2nd in the final circuit. Keith Rocco is 3rd. Ronnie Williams is 4th, and Tyler Berry will finish in the crucial 5th position. That bumped Austin Beers out of the handicap, and Nicholas Hulkowitz will finish in the 7th spot. Just a sample of what we are seeing already in tonight's program, because round number 2 is waiting backstage. And here's Kyle Rickey with the starting lineup.
Another 7 cars in this second of 3 qualifying events. This is the only division that's qualifying this evening. As soon as these next 2 heat races that are in the books, we go right in to feature competition. Car number 1 will start from the pole in this second qualifier from Danbury, Connecticut. Casella Waste and Superior Refinishing, Lasco Roofing and Sheet Metal to bring us George Bissett Jr.
And Checker One Manufacturing brings us this Long Island competitor, car number 01, for Artie Peterson III in the Peterson racing car.
Third starter, car number 5, CT from Lisbon, Connecticut, the Dolly's Collision and Custom car for Chris Pastriak.
Then we go to car number 19. We welcome this talent back from Old Saybrook in the Jensen Avenue Auto Car. It is Nick Salva.
Fifth starter, car number 81 from East Hampton, Connecticut, the three-time and defending SK champion, the Cooker Construction car for, check that, not Todd Owen, that is Anthony Flannery in car number 81.
Now we go 3 rows back. Car number 51 is up next from Newtown, the JB Management Machine. John Bello owns the car, and Anthony Bellows, his son, is behind the wheel.
And then the 55 CT is next from Danbury, Connecticut. Montanari Fuel and Business Time Motorsports to bring us Teddy Hodgson.
Well, if you've just joined us, this is round number 2 in Casella Waste Open Modified competition. This is the 6th annual event, I believe, for this evening's program. And as we said before, a great night of racing here at the Speedway. And this is the 7th annual for that. Woody Pitcat has won the most of these events with 6 victories here at the half mile. Ronnie Williams has 3. Keith Rocco, is tied with Chase Dowling, Ryan Priest, Eric Goodale, and Ron Silk. Tommy Barrett has 1. Marcello Rufano has 1. And Michael Christopher, Matt Hirschman, and Glenn Reed all have been to victory lane for one of these events.
Oh, trouble, front of the field. Front row comes together. Pastriak misses both Bissett and Peterson as they go to turn 1. Caution will come out. Obviously called back there after they tangled coming off of turn 4 right at the front.
And we're looking at the right front wheel on car number 1. There are several cars in the paddock area that picked up sponsorship, and Teddy Anderson's number 1 car was one of them from the Casella Waste folks. And it looked like just as they were getting it fired up is when the tire might have, we're not sure, we'll take a look at the replay, might have went down first, or was it after the fact? As Bissett continues to not have a lot of luck this season.
Now 23rd at the Sizzler, the only other open modified race here at the racetrack. Currently 7th in SK points, the 2023 SK Light Modified champion here at the racetrack. And Bissett now has come to a stop up in turn number 2 with some damage to the front of that car.
And of course, the record goes to assist Ted Anderson's race car. Bissett Jr. has been very quick every Friday night here at Stafford. But as we said before, he has not had an awful lot of luck this year. And that's how this happens. Let's take a look at the replay, Kyle. Everything is looking good. They are about ready to get fired up. The outside lane and the inside lane come together, and that's where the problems began.
Be interesting to take a look at that one more time here in a moment. Not sure if there was contact on the inside lane, maybe with Artie Peterson.
Peterson has seemed to be on the outside lane, and he
was on the outside.
Might have came down.
Yep.
And when he did, I believe that's where Bissett had no place to go. Literally rode up over the rub rail, and then the right front of the Ted Anderson car for Bissett managed to get cut and went down. So tough break for Bissett right there initially, and we are about ready to, looks like, double the field back up and commence with our second of our qualifying events.
Get the 1 to go signal this time by. And a big thank you to all the folks from Casella Waste for sponsoring tonight's race program.
Let's take a look at it again, Kyle.
See if there was contact from row 2, and I'm not sure if Chris may have got George before that or not, which moved Bissett up the speedway. Tough to tell from that angle. We'll try it one more time, though, now with Peterson to the inside of Pastriak for the restart, this time by.
Well, we're going to re-rack the field, and no laps into the record books. If you've just joined us, this is the second qualifier for the Open Tour Type Modifieds. 5 is the transfer number. 10 laps is the distance. Pace car about to dive off the racetrack, and we are about ready to get them fired back up. Here they come. Complete New start, Bissett. Tire down, out of the competition. Peterson, Chris Pastriak, up on the wheel. Power move to the outside. Pastriak pulls away. Battle is for the third position, and it's between Nick Salva, Teddy Hodgson, and Anthony Bello.
And also the 81 of Flannery in the outside lane is going to backslide a couple of spots as they cross the line. Peterson to second, Salva to third as they begin to single out, then Bello, then Flannery. Teddy Hodgson just moving around Flannery off of turn 2, so move Teddy into the 5th spot as they come back off the corner to complete lap 2.
All of a sudden, moving to the front of the field, it is Anthony Bellows running rather racy through traffic. Bellows now making a bid for the 2nd spot. Peterson hung out to dry in the outside lane. Here comes Teddy Hodgson, car number 55.
Hodgson up to 4th and wanting more. It still has plenty of time to get to the front with 7 laps to run, and has a run off of turn number 2 on Artie Peterson. Peterson topside. Hodgson to the inside takes the 3rd spot away for car 55.
There's no question about it. Teddy Hodgson came here and is playing hardball. He moves into the 3rd spot. Right there with him, good run for Nick Salva in the Jensen backup machine. Behind him is the battle for the crucial 5th position. And of course, it is a battle with Anthony Flannery now owning the real estate there. That'll bump Artie Peterson out of the top 5. That is not where he needs to be.
They have singled out last time by Teddy Hodgson, fastest lap of the race. Prior to that, it was Anthony Bello. Both of them are hunting down Chris Pastriak, the race leader. 5 or 6 car lengths last time by, down to 2 this time off of turn number 2. Here comes the 51 of Anthony Bello.
.327, the separation between 1st and 2nd. Bello reeling in on the back bumper of Pastriak. Clock is ticking, 7 of 10. Meanwhile, Bello is getting closer, and while that was happening, Hodgson had to fight off a challenge of Nick Salva. Here they come, 2 to go, Kyle.
2 laps to run, Pastriak out front. Bello kind of stabilized there at about 0.3 of a second between the top 2. Hodgson in 3rd, best battle for 4th between Salva and Flannery. They are 4th and 5th and have left Artie Peterson, who may have suffered some damage in that opening lap contact with Bissett. He has faded in position number 6. White flag, 1 lap to go.
Final circuit. Can Bello reel in? Less than 3 turns determined. Chris Pastriak out in front, pulling away. He'll head down into turn number 3. Black and white is waving. They come off the turn. It is Pastriak to bring him to the line.
Chris Pastriak will win heat race number 2 for the Open Modifieds over Anthony Bello in 2nd, Teddy Hodgson in 3rd, Anthony Flannery 4th, and Nick Salva 5th. Artie Peterson faded to 6th. George Bissett Jr. never even really got going in that heat race and will be credited with a 7th place finish.
Well, in our next qualifying round for Casella Waste, it will be car number 23, starting to the inside of the front row. This gentleman from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He is the pride of the Smart Race program and the open shows down south. Driving the L&R transmission machine, car 23, Carson Lofton.
A lot less travel for our outside front row sitter, car number 28 from Woodstock, Connecticut, the Cape Towing and Salvage CNC Pulls car for Buddy Charette.
Then we go to the inside of row number 2, car number 04. It is Dylan Izio from Monroe, Connecticut, the Izzo Motorsports machine.
4th starter, it's the 00 from Wolcott, Connecticut, the James R. Page Plumbing and Heating car for Mike Christopher Jr.
Then we go to the Gunsmoke Stables machine, the Holmes Motorsports car, Casella Waste sponsored machine from Bellingham, Massachusetts, car number 8, Woody Pitcat.
6th starter, car number 9 from Millis, Massachusetts, the Victory Lane Bar and Grill car for Tommy Barrett Jr.
This car was quick in practice, car number 58, starting 7th on the grid. The GF Roofing machine from Riverhead, New York, it is Eric Goodale.
And rounding out the 8-car field, car number 78 from East Haven, Connecticut, Walt Sutcliffe Jr.
There you have it, third qualifying and final qualifying round for the Open Tour type modifieds on Casella Waste Night here at the Speedway as we're set to begin. Carson Lofton has been such a dominant player down south.
5 wins this year on the Smart Modified Tour.
And those were 5 well-earned victories, competing against competitors like
Matt Hirschman.
Yes, Jimmy Beluit.
Burt Myers.
Yes,
on
and
down
the
the
list
line.
goes on. So he's a youngster, but very personable. And Kyle Rickey did a great interview with him earlier in the paddock area here today. Down the back straightaway, we're moving this right along for the qualifying action. Carson Lofton starting to the inside. Incidentally, if you're wondering how they determine the starting lineup for these cars, it was by the draw as they signed in for this evening's program. Standard procedure for an open event of this type. Here they come. Green, and they're racing. Carson Lofton holding on as Buddy Charette slipped up the racetrack just a bit. Bid is for second. Dylan Izzo on the move, Kyle. And there's the Woodman trying to follow him through, car number 8.
Woody Pitkat starting mid-pack, a 6-time Open Modified winner here at this racetrack, running in the 3rd spot, trying to take second away from Izzo off of turn number 2. All of this racing behind Carson Lofton, the race leader, at the completion of lap number 2 this time by. Here's Izzo with a run on the bottom, though, challenging for the top spot.
Carson Lofton is getting an education northern style. Guarding the inside, Dylan Izzo. Here comes Woody Pitkat. Meanwhile, side-by-side racing, little further back in the field, and Michael Christopher is there on the bottom in the Joe LeMay prepared car. And Christopher now moves into the 5th spot. Kyle, that's where he has to be for that preferred starting spot.
Running in position number 5, Buddy Charette back to 6, battle for the lead. Izzo rooted up off the bottom. Here comes Woody Pitkat. Lofton off the pace further back. Carson is slow in turn 4 and now stops in car number 23.
Well, it appears that Carson Lofton stops in the center of the turn, brings out a caution, and unfortunately that is not how the game is usually played here. Bringing out an unnecessary caution because all the tires are up in the car itself. He apparently just stops on the racetrack in turn number 4.
Not sure. Well, we'll find out, but he just stopped at turn number 4. As soon as the caution flag waved, he kept rolling. So it'll be a quick caution. He'll realign the field in turn number 3 this time by, and then we should be back to green here in about a lap and a half from now. Woody Pitkat showing the way over Dylan Izzo. Eric Goodale, just prior to the caution flag, had the fastest lap of the race, and looks like we'll restart in the 3rd spot to the inside of Mike Christopher Jr.
Certainly does, and as we said before, Cam McDermott prepares this car. It is owned by Mike Holmes, and it was a car that was built out of the Owen stable to the specifications of McDermott and Owen and the Chassis Pro people, combining their efforts. It's made its debut at the New Smyrna Speedway, where Cam McDermott tried the thing out, did a little bit of testing there. And Woody has said, this is a very good race car, but they are still trying to work and get all the bugs out and put all the magic in. Keep your eyes on Eric Goodale. Goodale is a smooth, talented driver. He runs well at this racetrack. Car 58 inside of row number 2.
6 laps to run. Woody Pitkat brings the field back into turn number 1. Dylan Izzo outside. Then it's Goodale and Christopher inside and out in row number 2. Charette under fire for that 5th spot from Tommy Barrett.
5th is so crucial. Barrett digging in hard on the outside. Shuffled to the bottom of the racetrack. It is the 58. Side-by-side bid next to him, Michael Christopher in Jimmy Page's race car. And here comes Tommy Barrett. Meanwhile, little smooch to the back bumper of the number 58 machine. Goodale moves into the 3rd spot. Battle is for 5th.
just past the halfway mark, and it is for the 5th position, Barrett and Charette. Charette in the outside lane. Barrett goes to the bottom and takes that position away. Carson Lofton a part of that three-way battle for 5th on back. As up front, battle for 3rd, at least further up. Here's Christopher to the inside of Goodale for that spot.
That battle has been going throughout the first 7 laps of this event. All of a sudden, digging in hard on the bottom, it is the 00. Michael Christopher moves into the 3rd spot, bumping the Goodale machine back to 4. Then it's a large gap, but an important position for Tommy Barrett. Back up front, Goodale took a sneak peek at the bottom. It didn't work. Here comes Michael Christopher. Off turn number 4, white flag is out. 4 cars contending for 1 spot on the racetrack.
Final trip around in this final open modified qualifying event. Christopher steps out of line on Izzo for the 2nd spot. That is 3 car lengths behind race leader Woody Pitcat into turn 3 for the final time.
Here comes the checker. Goodale isn't done yet, but off the turn, Woody Pitcat will take down the win, finishing in 2nd. Great run for Michael Christopher. Dylan Izzo to finish in 3rd. Eric Goodale for 4th, and Tommy Barrett, the independent, will round out the top 5 in handicap. Who will not make it in the handicap?
That includes Buddy Charette, Carson Lofton, and Walt Sutcliffe, rounding out the 8-car field. For those watching our Facebook and YouTube streams, want to thank you for watching the opening qualifying events. Feature events are coming up next from here at the Stafford Motor Speedway on Casella Waste 80 Open 80 night for the Open Modifieds. The final Friday night